Welcome to Retirement Talk, the show that gives you wealth strategies that actually work. And hopefully they'll work for you. John, today we are talking about fees, hidden fees, all those fees out there that just drain money out of your account. You know, they just, we call it dropping nickels, you know, dripping nickels out, and over it happens. And, you know, it can be hundreds of dollars a month. What could you do with that? So we want you to be aware of all the different places so that you can check out and look at, are you paying some of these fees and could you reduce them? So things like overdraft charges. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the average U.S. consumer pays $250 annually that could be used for a nice dinner out with your special someone. And instead, it's overdraft because you weren't careful enough with that bank account, just making sure that there's plenty of money in there. So again, this is an easy fix, but it's something you have to pay attention to. And that's why we tell people to, you know, mind your nickels and dimes, and the dollars will take care of themselves. So you've got to be careful to pay attention to your money so this doesn't happen.
Yeah, so it's not just overdraft fees, it's transfer fees. So recently had a client that brought a statement in and actually had like $50 for a wire transfer. I mean, that's like, you know, if the $250 will buy you dinner, the $50 will probably buy you lunch. So you've got things like overdraft fees, you've got transfer fees, and how about the ATM fees? I was out the other day taking my kids to Chick-fil-A and I needed $20 and my local bank wasn't around. So I took like $60 out of a ATM, and the ATM fee on top of that was like $3.50, $4, something like that. So when my wife gets those, by the way, she tells me to go to her own bank, but if it's not very close, sometimes you just pay the fee. Well, how many times do you take ATM, you know, withdrawals out of your ATM if you're just running around town? So when you talk about these fees, we have a saying that we say it's not just what you make, it's what you keep. And fees that add up really add to that. But these are some of the more minor ones. When it talks about investments, those fees can get into the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I'm reminded right now when you're talking about the ATM and having cash, you know, they say cash is going away, but it's always good to have some cash. And my grandfather always told me, he said, Pete, you know, this was a different day, but when I was just a young feller, so that's like 55, 60 years ago, and he says, Pete, you need some walking around money. And guess what? I've always had cash in my pocket with one of those little cash holder thingies in my front pocket, and I always had that. And so again, it's, you know, how much money does that save me in ATM fee? I never use an ATM to get cash. And another good way to get it is just, you know, next time you go to the grocery store or something, when they have the cash register open, they ask, do you need any cash back? That's a good free way to get that money back. So that's just another thing. But again, there's a lot of investment fees out there. And John, we see people that come into our office all the time and they have variable annuities. And I can't remember the last time that anyone actually knew how much they were paying in fees inside that account. Now, many things that are financial have some kind of a fee involved. Not everything, but many things do, but they're not all equal. And it's not as if there can never be a variable annuity that would be acceptable. But what you need to ask and be very clear on is, what are all the hidden fees everywhere within this product? And what we find that people come in, and when we add them up or call the company and find out what those fees are, the client is shocked to find out that oftentimes it's 3%, 3.25%, 3.5%. I've seen them over 4%. I've seen them up to 5%. Well, shoot, you've got to make 5% every year just to cover the fee. So be careful that you ask all the questions, and not just what's the management fee or what is the advisor getting paid. What are all the fees added up in that particular investment? But any investment, John, people need to know what they're paying.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about variable annuities, you really have to look at not just, like you said, the investment fees, but all the rider costs. You can add a whole bunch of different riders. Well, every rider you're gonna add to that variable annuity is going to have an extra fee. And so really looking at that. And then investment fees, people come into our office and we'll ask them what their investment fees are, and almost always they're going to tell us 1%. Well, that's the management fee. Average management fee probably nationally is about 1%. What it doesn't consider is all the investment fees that are under the hood, the hidden fees and the prospectuses that you get in the mail. Of course, everybody gets those prospectuses in the mail. You should read them. Most people don't. I mean, reading in perspective is not exactly riveting reading or anything, but inside of those, there's a whole bunch of fees, 12B1 fees, transaction costs, soft dollar costs. We've had countless people come into our office that think they're paying 1%, but when we do a fee analysis for them and actually show them what the fees are that they can't see, we've seen them as high as 2.5%, sometimes a little bit higher. So in your investments, if you could get like funds and reduce your cost 1% a year, and we've been able to do that, if not more in many cases. Well, if you got $1 million, that's $10,000 a year in your pocket. And so when you talk about these fees, ATM fees, $385. Now, the reason you haven't gone to ATMs in years is because you're an empty nester. I have 3 kids and a wife, so my wallet is like their ATM. So I go out for Subway or something like that, and I've got no cash. I had that walking around money, but my kids took it because they're teenagers and everything else. But $385, $350 for an ATM fee, that's nothing compared to what you could be paying on your investments, which literally could be hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah, and there's lots of them, but let me just give you one last one, and that is checks ordered from your bank. They often cost 75% more than they would if you got them at Sam's or some other place. And again, these $2 here and $20 there and $100 here add up over a year. Pretty soon you've paid for a nice vacation for you and your family. So again, pay attention to all of those, we call it leaks in the money bucket, that just drain out money for no good reason because you didn't plan ahead and take an account for these things.
Do you actually go to Sam's and just buy the checks though? If you go to Sam's Club, don't you buy the 5-gallon thing of peanut butter as well?
Yeah, and so those cheap checks now cost a lot more. So again, be careful that you only pick up what you went for. Well, folks, hopefully this has been helpful. Thanks for watching our show today. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and see all our latest episodes.